Okay. Great response by our players and coaches this past weekend. Thought we came out and played obviously exceptionally well. Coordinators had outstanding plans on both sides of the ball. Players did a great job executing it. And so couldn't be more pleased with our coaching staff and our players. And that's exactly what we needed, was to have a reset of sorts, I guess you could say, and get back on track. And so we got a big challenge this week on the road against number 5 team in the country. And we got to be at our best. You know, we can't just play good. We got to play great, and that's what it's going to take. And it's going to take another week of preparation, great preparation, and focus on our players' part. And that's exactly what they did last week. The preparation was outstanding Monday through Friday. And again, the coordinators and the staff came up with an outstanding plan, and that has to carry over to this week. So, you know, we're excited about the opportunity, and we will take it from there. So, questions?
Washington's a little bit more one-dimensional than Oregon was, but do you see them in a similar light in those type of echelon teams?
Well, they got excellent personnel. The thing that stands out, obviously, is the quarterback and the throw game. I mean, they're leading the nation throwing the football. Got an outstanding running back as well, although they don't, you know, their focus is throwing the ball, and they do it better than anybody in the country. Defensively, they're solid. You know, and they're getting everybody's best shot, their defense, because everyone's, you know, it's you got to score a bunch of points to try to win a game against the Huskies, and so their defense, you know, is doing a very good job as well. And so, you know, them and Oregon are a lot of similarities, but their approach is a little bit different. Personnel, talent, you know, throughout the roster is very similar as well. Oh,
Yeah.
you butted in front of him.
Well,
You butted in front of him.
So I was like, wait, I didn't know.
I felt a little stir
That's
over
what I
there.
heard.
Okay. Go ahead, buddy. We're profusely. I apologize for him very much.
He wants to know, what do you see as the biggest challenge this week against the Huskies? Is it their run game, their pass game, or their stingy defense?
I would say their throw game. It's, you know, statistically, again, the best in the nation by a considerable margin. It's like 50 yards better than the next closest passing game, and so that will be the biggest challenge. Pass defense starts at the line of scrimmage. It's not just on the secondary. The defensive front has to get pressure and not let the quarterback get comfortable. Now, that being said, probably the best offensive line we faced to this point. I would say that's our evaluation. And they do a great job with their front. Big guys, you know, guards are 6'8" and 6'6". I mean, they're a big front, and you can't do the things they do in the throw game without having protection. And that's, you know, they got excellent protection up front. The receiver is tremendous. You know, they got a bunch of good receivers, but the one kid stands out. And then, like I said, to complement that, they have an outstanding running back that, you know, he just went off, you know, last week, and so. It's you know, it's a big challenge for us.
JJ has battled through this ankle injury all season.
Yeah.
How tough is he to just keep coming back, keep trying it, and you expect him to have him this week?
Exceptionally tough. First of all, he has battled it all season long, and he just keeps coming back, and you know, it's a process of, during the week he gets it as good as he can get it, then a game day he just lets it rip until he can't go anymore. And so we'll see about this week and what his availability is. Right now it's a question mark.
Kyle, it's taken Kalen DeBoer not much time to get his team to where it is at this point, again with the throw game and in the mix for the college football playoff. How much can you quicken the process now with the portal and things of that nature?
Oh, it accelerates it tremendously, and you combine that with a place like Washington that has tremendous resources, and you know, the cupboard was not bare, first of all, when he inherited the program. I mean, they've done it, you know, Coach Pete was there. It was, you know, they had that thing humming along, and Coach Lake had a period of time, but all the factors combined, you know, it's a place where you can really, and they've won there. What did they win? National championship one year, way back when, I think they did. So anyway, it's a proven place to win at, and he's done a really good job, and he's got that thing in high gear right now, and he's like I said, doing a tremendous job for them.
You've taken your team into that building a number of times, wins, losses. What has made that venue, that building, so tough to deal with?
Yeah, well, first of all, they get great crowds. I think they're averaging 68 or 67,000 every week, which I think is capacity or close to it. It's loud. It's a very loud crowd. Great setting, right there on the water. It's one of the most picturesque stadiums in the country, if not the most. But it's a hostile environment. They have a home field advantage with that crowd, and like I said, the loudness is something that you got to prepare for. You can't just show up there. You got to work crowd noise all week long and be ready for it.
Obviously, Arizona State was, they're in a different situation than.
You mean Pat Kinahan's alma mater? Yeah. Okay. What was it about it?
They're in a different situation than Washington is in. How much can you kind of look at what you did this last weekend and kind of anticipate carryover going forward?
Well, they're quite a bit different as far as their approaches. Different personnel-wise, obviously. What we're pleased with was this past week is just the preparation, the effort, the passion, the energy that was all manifest on Saturday, and so hopefully that carries over. We need that to carry over because, like I said, when you go on the road to play a team of this caliber, good isn't good enough. You got to be great, and so that's what we need to be.
The Devils, for all their suckitude, did hold Washington without a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then
Four turnovers.
5 on them.
4 turnovers for the Huskies had a lot to do with it.
Can you learn anything from that?
That was a big. Of course we can. Yeah, we'll learn. We learn from every game we watch, but the big deal in that game, which kept things very tight, was the four turnovers by the Huskies.
There are two teams that have seemingly separated themselves a little bit in the Pac-12 race, but obviously you guys aren't out of it. You got to win out. What is your take on this race?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Washington is the only undefeated team in conference play, and overall, obviously. They're 5 and 6 that were positioned in the polls. I think Washington's 5, Oregon 6. So both outstanding teams, outstanding programs. You're right, mathematically we're still in it, but it's all 1 week at a time. We're not worried about the big picture right now. We're just trying to figure out a way to try to go up to Seattle and play well, but it's a great conference race, and we're getting down to some teams only have a couple games left. I believe we got 3 games left, but it's coming right down to the wire. Maybe we'll see. Button in again.
I know. I'm just trying.
Okay.
Just trying.
I got butted in a few weeks ago.
Okay.
You're of course worried about hearing now, but the Big 12 schedule came out last week. You're going to play Baylor as a non-conference game next year, which essentially gives you 10 Big 12 games in year 1. I'm curious how much input you had on that decision to make that out of conference from Mark or anybody else?
0 input and 0 concern about it right now. I'm sure, when this season's over and we'll start to digest the Big 12 schedule and see how it lays out, then we'll, adjust accordingly. We can't really adjust, but, figure out what we got in store. But haven't really given it much thought at all just yet.
Are there any plans to get any Nate Johnson packages, or is Vaki kind of taking that role?
We're going to do whatever we can do to supplement the offense as best we can. Nate has been a part of it in some games this year, as has Vaki, and so we're going to try to fashion a plan that gives us the best chance to win. And if it includes those guys, then that's what we'll do. But can't give away any secrets, can I? Yeah, not just yet.
Is 70-30 for Sione still the plan as you indicated?
Yeah, that's about the maximum, 70-30, and maybe 80-20, depending on how the game goes. But somewhere in that neighborhood is what he's been, is what we think is probably the tipping point of not overdoing it.
Speaking to that point is with Vaki, obviously you weren't able to have him on Saturday. He didn't get on the offensive side.
Mm-hmm.
Does that give the offense a little bit more confidence to know that they can do this without him now and being able to kind of move forward with?
Probably so. Yeah, I haven't asked that pointed question to anyone on the offense, but it was our best production of the year. Bryson Barnes played his best game as a Ute, period, not just this year. And so, yeah, that should be a confidence builder for our guys.
Along those lines, it seems like Devon has had really great back-to-back weeks. Seems like he's really kind of come on. What have you seen out of him just over the course of the season, especially of late?
Tremendous consistency, effort, practice habits. He's a great teammate. I mean, he's a team guy from the word go. The weeks that he doesn't get his touches, never complains, never says anything. All he does is come out and work hard. So it's been very satisfying to see him have his production go up these last 2 weeks, and he's one of the better receivers in the Pac-12 in my opinion, and certainly does a great job for us, and we need to continue to make sure he gets the targets.
Kyle, what do you learn about Washington's defense looking at the Stanford game and the way Stanford was able to move the ball and score?
Well, I haven't watched games yet. We watch cut-ups, and it's hard to get the flavor of a game when you're watching, your inside runs, outside runs, just versus all opponents. And so that will come. I'll probably get to that by tomorrow, where you just sit down and watch the games as they unfolded. So can't really give you a good answer on that yet, but we will have an answer in a few days.
We went with the no-huddle last week, so obviously Washington sees that.
Right.
What type of adjustments do you have to make then? Because maybe you caught the Devils off guard, but obviously you wouldn't be able to catch Washington off guard because you showed it.
Right, they'll prepare for it, and no huddle is as much for us as much as anything is the timing of it, not necessarily that we do it, but when we do it is key for us, and I think no huddle is most effective that way. If you do it the entire game, it's not as effective as if you can turn it on and off. And so we'll in the stages right now making the game plan, and we'll see where and if that fits. And if it does, then you'll see it. If not, you may not see it at all. So
two straight games, Bailey having 7 catches. How important is it to get him involved in the passing game?
Very important. He's like I said, one of the better receivers in the league, and we need to make a conscious effort to make sure he's involved in the game plan, because he makes big plays. Pretty much every time you throw in the ball, he's got a big catch radius, and he can go up and get the 50-50 ball, and he's a guy that really does a great job competing for the ball when the DB's in position. And so we've got to, again, make a conscious effort to continue to keep him involved, because we're a better offense when he's doing his thing like that.
A lot's been made in the history of the Pac-12 about playing games in obscure time slots, obscure networks, and you can't be seen, and the impact it has on recruiting. This is like your 6th or 7th game this year where you've been in a time slot everybody watches, on a network everybody watches. Are you seeing a carryover into recruiting?
Yeah. Anytime you can get national exposure, it builds your brand, and we certainly have. Our recruits have certainly taken note of that, and excited about the exposure we've gotten, and now it's a two-edged sword. You got to be on national TV and play well. You don't want to go ahead and just underperform every week, but we've performed pretty darn good this year in most weeks, and that has caught the attention of our recruits and has been a plus.
How is recruiting going, by the way?
Good, and it's not like it used to be. You used to look at the lists and get 20, 25 high school guys lined up, but now with the portal, you got to save spots, and so the high school recruiting is not as big of a number as it used to be, and JC is nowhere near as big a number as it used to be. We used to be a pretty decent JC recruiting program where we take maybe half a dozen some years, and now maybe one. And so it's taken a little bit of twist and a little bit of turn in that respect, and you can see our list is not real voluminous right now by design, because we want to make sure we have the room and the space to get the portal guys that we want.
You haven't faced Penix yet yourself. Getting pressure on him obviously is key, but he's a guy that can avoid pressure and throw on the run as well.
Yeah, he's very mobile in the pocket. He's got great pocket presence. He can sense the rush. He does a great job, like all really good quarterbacks, of keeping his eyes downfield while he's on the move, and certainly would rather throw it than tuck it and run, although he's very capable of doing that.
Is there anything besides the quarterback, of course, that Washington does uniquely that allows them to have that kind of productivity in the pass game? Because they don't have the volume of like a Washington State pass attack or one of those.
They got a really good O-line that protects him, and they got really good receivers. That's what they do. They got talented guys, and the guy throwing the ball is as good as there is in the country. So it's more a product of that rather than anything schematically. It's just they've got a lot of talent, and it fits together really well.
How does Dylan Johnson's performance against USC, the running back, 256, a couple touchdowns, I think, how does that change
your preparation for this offense?
It doesn't really. We know he's a really good back, and he's capable of that pretty much any week that they want to feature that. But they make their money throwing the football. That's what they want to do first and foremost. But if you overload, thin out the front and overload the coverages, then you're gonna get a good dose of him. So we've got to just do our thing and prepare like we always do, and we certainly are aware of his presence in the run game, and so Scally and his boys will come up with a plan.
I was going to say about the versatility of Bijan Stanley, a running back that you can put him in there and flex him out and go to him on third down and he makes a play like that.
Yeah, he's a guy that when we're looking for guys to supplement what we're doing offensively, he was a guy that stood out in practice, and we thought, hey, let's see if we can get him out in space a little bit and do exactly what you just outlined, and he has really excelled at that. I mean, there's not a big sample size, but what the opportunities he's got, he's done well. He's also a really valuable special teams contributor. He's our gunner, one of our gunners on punt. He runs down on kickoff. I mean, he has a lot of things special teams wise too. He's got a bright future here. We really like him.
You've said in the past that when you're recruiting high school kids, you like kids that play multiple sports, specifically track and field. He's an accomplished sprinter. What was it about him in high school, specifically as a sprinter, that kind of caught your attention?
Well, you're always looking for speed. I mean, speed is the one of the most important, if not the most important element in football. And Coach Quinton Ganther, found him and recruited him, and loved the way he ran, obviously, and he was, some weeks I think he rushed for over 300 yards one week in high school. So he's very prolific in high school, and so it was pretty easy to identify him and realize that he was a guy that could help us out.
With Smith Snowden, what needs to happen to keep seeing him progress and getting on the field? Exactly
what happened on Saturday. He played exceptionally well. He got like 37 reps and made the most of it, performed exceptionally well for his first real opportunity. He's been on special teams and throughout the season, but we decided, as I think I mentioned in the post game, that it was time for him to see what he could do in the game situation on defense, and he answered the bell. He played exceptionally well, and Teo Johnson has been, he's still the starting nickel, but down the road, next year, Teo's probably going to move either to outside corner or to free safety, and Smith is a prototypical slot corner, so we feel like that is his future, what you saw him do Saturday.
Your starting offensive line seemed to have a good game. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on the backups that played at the end of the game and what you saw.
Yeah, very pleased with those guys. That's a good group, and they've got a lot of potential, and some of those guys will be ready to play. Next year, we'll see what happens when when the dust settles and who stays and who moves on, but we got a lot of confidence. I've been saying that ever since fall, actually ever since spring ball, that we're very deep and talented on the offensive line, and we've got like 12 guys that we feel are ready to play at any time if we need them to.
Transfer portal talk is starting to heat up nationally, and I'm curious, do you talk to your players about being mindful of others reaching out to them and that sort of thing? Do you talk to them about that?
We have conversations about what the options are after the season. There's a lot of guys that could turn pro or stay, have another year of eligibility. So we and what used to never be talked about during season is now has to be talked about, because that's the world we live in. And so yes, the answer is yes. We talk about pros and cons of staying, leaving. What they're thinking, because we got to get, it matters, because the portal, when it opens up, it goes quick, and so you got to have your ducks in a row and know what holes you want to fill or what holes you need to fill. So yeah, those discussions are happening, and it's really between player and position coach. I get involved a little bit right now. I'll get more involved as we get closer to the end of the season, which is very close. Okay, thanks guys.